Is Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine. Thank you for being here. You were at the hospital Friday night where the officers were first taken. It is tragic enough that Officer Rivera died, and now you have Officer Mora. I mean, this has hit a nerve in the city and around the country. What is going on here?
It really has. It has been such a difficult January for Manhattan, for New York City. Seems like every day there's another heartbreaking incident. We're, of course, mourning the loss of two officers who themselves were kids who grew up uptown, one in East Harlem, Officer Mora, one in Washington Heights, Officer Rivera. There is now a united front among all of us in leadership that we must stop the epidemic of gun violence. I haven't seen this level of unity in a long time among leaders. There are debates on the details of how to do that, which we can talk about. But the goals are clear. We have to do more to keep young people from going down that path to pick up a gun in the first place. We need to invest more in youth programs and after school. We have to make it less easy to get a gun in New York City, and that means stopping the flow of weapons up I-95 from the southern states. And yes, we do have to get the guns that are already on the street off, and that means targeted, sensible, proportionate enforcement that goes after the guns without repeating some of the mistakes of past decades, which put overly aggressive enforcement on young people of color.
And what you're talking about is some of the blueprint laid out by Mayor Adams. How long do you give this to show results? There needs to be a measure for whether these steps that have been laid out are working.
Look, we need immediate action. We've already had double the number of shootings in Manhattan than we had last year. That can't continue. Some of these fixes are long-term. I think we can move immediately to begin to support young people in their communities, to interdict guns that are flowing into the city, and yes, also to be on the street and seizing some of the guns that are already out there with sensitivity to not repeating the mistakes of the past. The mayor has said we have to start showing immediate results, and we do, but this is also a long-term fight that's going to require investments in the kind of programs that won't yield results for months and years to come.
Look, there have been a spate of violent carjackings, blatant theft. 5 NYPD officers have now been shot since the start of the year. A woman shoved to her death on the subway tracks in Times Square. I mean, the mayor says, and you've said, it's been a very rough January, but what do you say to people who now think that New York City just simply is not safe? Do you think it is?
Well, this is not the 1990s again, thank God. But yes, most categories of crime are increasing now, and people feel unsafe, and that also has to be taken seriously. And it's not only shootings. I think we all agree that guns have to be a top priority, but also we have a crisis of mental health that has led to some horrible incidents like the pushing of Michelle Go at the Times Square about a week and a half ago. We also have to go after the mental health problems in the city. We have to help people who are struggling get into the treatment they need, the housing they need. That also requires investments. We can do this. We will do this. To people who are doubting, I'll say that the leadership of New York City is united, that we have to address the mental health crisis, the epidemic of shootings, and we're going to fight over some of the details, but we're going to do this, and it's going to have an impact. I'm confident. We are committed to solving this on behalf of New Yorkers.
Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, thank you so much for coming on today.